It is Nebraska at its blue ribbon best. The Nebraska State Fair coming to you on board a combine. We'll talk to ag leaders about trade and the relief package and talk one-on-one with Congressman Adrian Smith. It's all straight ahead. It's time to grow. Much more on the State Fair in just a moment, but we start with details of that farm relief package announced this week. If you're a farmer and you grossed an average of less than $900,000 per year in 2014, 15, and 16, you qualify. According to the USDA, soybean farmers will be paid $1.65 a bushel. Sorghum farmers, 86 cents per bushel. Wheat producers, 14 cents per bushel. And corn farmers get 1 cent per bushel. Hog producers get $8 per head, and dairy farmers 12 cents per hundredweight. Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue says the tariffs will benefit all Americans and is an attempt to stop what he calls unfair practices from China when it comes to intellectual property. Perdue also said the tariffs could end soon.
It's important to note that all this could go away tomorrow if China and the other nations would simply correct their behavior. But in the meantime, the program that we are announcing today will allow time for the President to strike the long-lasting trade deals that will benefit our entire economy.
To get the total payment, the Department of Ag will cut a producer's total in half, then multiply it by the rates we just mentioned. Also announced this week, a new trade deal with Mexico. Cattlemen hope it might be the start of a turnaround on trade. The best cattle in the beef state compete at the State Fair. Nebraska brands itself as a cut above, and much of the value of each head comes through exports.
Over $300 a head value in our foreign markets, so it is very important.
Mexico buys millions in beef cuts Americans don't usually eat, like tongue and liver. So word of a trade deal removing tariffs is welcome.
That's good for Nebraska agriculture, it's good for the U.S., and so we look forward to that being completed.
Policy moving forward.
Congressman Adrian Smith expects Canada to come on board soon.
I don't expect perfection, but the fact of moving us forward in a more modern structure for NAFTA is what the objective is, and I'm encouraged that we can get there, and the sooner the better.
Smith tells ag leaders at a roundtable the president is trying to protect American industries, but he says tariff is another word for tax, and he wants to eliminate them.
And look at bringing down tariffs as a means of opening up trade.
Cattlemen say they're trying to be patient and hope the deal with Mexico is a sign of more agreements to come.
The word that we have talked back to the president is to, just protect agriculture, and I think he's heard us, but I think we're being patient, and let's see how things come out, and I think it'd be positive for everybody in the long run.
Congressman Smith says after Canada gets on board, he'd like to shift attention to Japan. Well, we also caught up with the CEO of a major co-op in central Nebraska for how tariffs have affected their business.
We're going to put a lot more grain on the ground this year and wait for the market to tell us when to ship it. We're concerned what's going on, but we believe that we'll have some resolution and we'll be able to ship those beans to market.
And sticking with politics, the State Fair hosts to a couple of debates. This was the first and possibly only debate between the incumbent U.S. Senator and Lincoln City Councilwoman. Deb Fischer and Jane Raybould outlined their differences on immigration, health care, and trade. Raybould went on the aggressive, accusing Fischer of corruption. Reporters asked Raybould about the tone of the debate.
You know, I think what is so important is that Nebraskans hear the real story about Senator Fischer's record. She does vote 98% of the time along party lines, and we know those votes have been hurting Nebraskans.
The candidates asked each other questions. Fischer asked Raybould about her grocery chain and why it doesn't offer family leave. Then Raybould questioned why Fischer's net worth has risen in office. Fischer said it's a matter of cash flow on the ranch, nothing questionable.
That was a low note. Yeah, that was really a low note in the debate, and Nebraskans are going to see past that. I can't believe that she would make comments like that. You know, there's never been any questions from the Senate Ethics Committee with regards to me.
You can see much more on that debate on our website. We also caught up with the candidates for governor after their debate, both saying they felt good after the hour-long questioning. The first question was property taxes. Senator Bob Criss said we should not be using the rainy day fund the way he says Governor Ricketts has. Criss says the fund is too low.
I'm really concerned that the property tax issue gets solved and that the property tax issue, along with the education portion of that, gets solved correctly.
Another issue, corrections. Governor Ricketts says prisons have been underinvested for a long time and they're working on changes.
But you don't make those investments overnight, right? We've asked for $117 million in capital expenses. We've asked for tens of millions of dollars in operating expenses. We really have to get those things put in place. A lot of our balloon projects, for example, haven't even been finished yet.
Much more on that debate also on our website. Well, we've got much more Nebraska State Fair coverage when we continue, including a one-on-one conversation with Congressman Adrian Smith.